I should have known that Kent would continue his Simon Dan tirade after last night into today, or I should say the previous night into last night for his Whackin' Atheist Wednesday. Um, Somehow I'm surprised to see it. I should have known better. Yeah, Kent did another 40-minute video complaining about Simon Dan. After he got as upset as he did the previous night, you think he would have just changed gears or maybe done something different just for the sake of doing something different. But then again, this is Kent Hovind we're talking about. There is no way he isn't going to be hyper focused on Dan for the next like 3 weeks solid. He's probably going to fill his open mic nights, which are barely open mic, with complaining about Dan all night, every night. It's all Dan all the time at Dinosaur Adventureland. So, yeah, we've got this to look forward to. I have no clue how this is going to go. It's 40 minutes. Maybe Kent will get as red faced as he did last time. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't necessarily care, but it's one of those things we watch to see what happens. This is how lol cows work. We're milking them for laughs, and Hovind always delivers something, if not laughable, then at least absurd. But here we go. We're going to go on and click Kent Hovind Official. And yeah, Simon Dan Part 2, because of course he does. Shitty.
Well, good evening, folks. Ken Hovind here and the crew at Dinosaur Adventureland in lovely Lenox, Alabama, straight north of Pensacola, 70 miles. We're on a bunch of different channels, not YouTube. They took us off again.
They took us off again. Oh, you mean you're talking about then they took you off months ago and you're still whining about it? Keep on whining, Kent. Keep on whining. Oh, I see traumatized SpongeBob is in frame. He's wearing the nuclear apocalypse shirt. And he's got whale vertebrae or something there. I don't know. Replica thereof. Okay, this is going to get interesting.
That would take people off. 4 million channels a year they take down. Okay, we're on Rumble, though. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter.
Which is an irrelevant point to bring up. 4 million channels a year. What does it matter, Kent? What does it matter? Explain why that's an important statistic to bring up.
We're on Instagram. We're on our own app, KentHovind.tv. Going to get that. We can't take that one down as far as I know. There are a whole bunch of you. Click those buttons and it'll take you someplace and do something, right? I guess. Okay.
S'mores. Early on, Kent did acknowledge my existence a couple of times. Right after I started, he was made aware of me. And then right after I did the Professor Dave debate reaction, where he and Dave went at it, he showed that thumbnail. It's a great moment in the stream, too, because I pause immediately as that loads up and then just bust out laughing because it's like I had no idea it was coming. I've interacted with him in one phone call, and he's aware enough of me, but he has a shitty memory, so he doesn't necessarily remember me. But he's certainly never done a whacking atheist on me. One, I'm certainly far too profane and stuff, and he just does not have the time for him or his team to edit around my horrible potty mouth. Except that one video where I was extremely polite the entire time. He could totally react to that. But two, I don't think I bring too much for him to be able to work on, except, he just complained the whole thing is ad hominem attacks when it's like, no, I'm just talking shit about you, Kent, because you deserve it. So, yeah, that's sort of the summary on where he and I stand. Some choppers on that shirt and it's apocalypse now. Seriously.
Here we are, May the 14th. Whacking Atheist. Simon Dan, again, he just doesn't get it. Come join us in a couple months, July.
He says that as if in the past 24 hours between the last stream and this stream, Dan did a whole other video on Kent. And it's like, no, you're just going to keep reacting to the same old crap. Going to be hilarious if you play the same video you've done 5 times over again.
6th at Kentucky at the Ken Ham's Noah's Ark, the Ark Encounter. We're going to go up there. They're having atheist rally. We thought we'd join in and, pray for the guys and maybe get them converted, some common sense. Halfway between Lexington and Cincinnati.
Only conversion I care about is software version 7.0 because I'm looking at life through the eyes of a tire hub.
And over there's Louisville. There's the Ark Encounter. Come help us build our Noah's Ark. We're needing more carpenter down here. Help us come build the thing. Spend a week or two.
We're needing more carpenter down here. Old man's losing it.
Let's see. And please be sure to get my February 1st letter on my channels and get it to Donald Trump somehow, or any politician that loves the Lord, loves our country. Help get this case overturned. It's a great example of the Justice Department being weaponized against a preacher. Anyway, help us stay open for free.
Yeah, and I think we should weaponize the Justice Department against more preachers. I'll fucking say it. Fuck y'all.
Our 777 Club, call 855-BIG-DINO, extension 1. Talk to who we get there, Bobby or Krista, or somebody will answer the phone. Not me. You don't want me on there. Okay, drdino.com. Over 9 years we've been open. Okay, we play this Whack an Atheist Wednesday. It's a fun game we play.
Good Lord, Zoomy. A shitty Chromebook that your friend gave you. Hack Linux onto that son of a bitch ASAP. Get Debian on there. I mean, real Linux. Android doesn't count as Linux. Android is a load of bullshit. I fucking hate it. Some people hate Windows ME. Some people hate Windows Vista. I hate Android with a fiery passion of 1,000 suns. Fuck that shit. We're just going to take Java and put it on top of the Linux kernel, and you can call it an operating system, and we're going to make a laptop on it and just make it do web apps and put fucking Google Chrome on there because we're fucking Google and we want every bit of your data. Yeah, sorry. I'm having a moment here. Yeah. Throw Debian on that shit and have a real computer. Turn it into amounts to a Linux Book Air. Yeah, Zoso, exactly. Get what case overturned? The one you already did time for and exhausted your appeals? Like, it's over, Kent. You're living in the past. Zoomy, yeah, that's his regular thing. He constantly claims they broke 100 laws to lock him up. And it's like, no. Explain. But he wants people to watch that dude's Ken Hovind is Innocent series as if that unwatchable garbage proves anything. And when I say unwatchable, I don't mean unwatchable like Kent and his crew at Dinosaur Adventureland can't get the audio right. I'm not talking the stream is coming through at potato quality. I'm talking this shit is literally unwatchable because it's just text on the screen with Brady Byram or whoever's voice just rambling on in the most ridiculous. It's so fucking pathetic. Like, I tried and I'm like, no, there is no way I can watch this shit. So, yeah.
Play here based on the whack-a-mole game. When the atheist sticks his head up and says something dumb, we whack him back down in Christian love, of course. It's a fun game. I guess I played it one time. It was all right. Cost, what, 50 cents or something. I didn't get the money back either. Okay. Anyway, stick their head up, you whack them back down. Children love to play it. Adults love it. I enjoyed it the time I played it. So whack an atheist. For the
I didn't get my money back. I paid for something and didn't get an immediate refund. What the hell, Kent?
Atheist to stick his head up and say something dumb. Like tonight, Dan's going to say a bunch of dumb stuff. We're going to whack him back down in Christian love. Some people have learned to keep their head down. Dan used to go off on other things like, flat earthers. Hey, go get them, Dan. But stay away from creation evolution. You don't know what you're talking about. You're way over your head, son. You're coming to a gunfight with a BB gun, right? So let's see. I taught high schoolers 15 years. See, normally we take those with the SpongeBob imagination. You just imagine the universe came from a dot of nothing. Just imagine. And life started from a little pond of melted rocks, or in the soup. We get the hammer of real science and we.
Now he's saying melted rocks in the soup. Yes, Kent, show me that in the textbooks. Just like you can't show any of the other crap you talk about, or the context shows it doesn't mean at all what you're implying it to mean. Show me in the textbooks that you love so much, where it talks about melted rocks into the soup. I'm waiting. Email's open. Chris@zidara.com.
Whack him back down. No. So well, for Dan, we're going to have to get a bigger hammer and see if we can
I'm offended by that use of Mjolnir.
knock some sense into him, but I've tried probably 12 times. So Dan, just for you, we're bringing out the sledgehammer.
I did not see that coming. Okay, that's actually fucking funny. And I'm sure Dan would have a right laugh at it too. Because we're not taking him seriously. This is just absurdist comedy. Congratulations, Kent. You're doing something funny, only for the fact that it is pure absurdist comedy. It's very base level absurdist comedy, but I did not expect it from you, so the surprise factor multiplied its hilarity value.
We're going to try to knock some sense.
I'm sorry. That's legitimately funny for that brief little moment. Good job, Kent. One time.
Into Dan and his followers that evolution is stupid, real stupid. Here, Matt Powell did a great video, and Dan thinks he's taking it apart. We'll talk about that.
Oh, yeah, I was just watching this the other day. I've been catching up on Dan's one a day for May, and so I was watching this one here. He ripped into Matt Powell. I should probably do my own rip into that one, but, you know, I mean, I'm not going to have too much more to say that everyone else hasn't already said. It's not like creationists have said anything new in the past 100 years. I mean, really, when you haven't had a new idea in a century, I think it's time to give it up, lads.
That tonight. So the winner tonight, Dan. Matt Powell did a great video, 10 reasons why Noah's flood is fact. Number one, there is sea life on top of mountains. Giant.
No, there's not sea life on top of mountains, Kent. There's remains of ancient sea life on top of mountains. As Dan says in the video, you don't find whales up there, buddy.
Oysters on top of the mountain in Peru. Yeah.
Yeah.
While the
You want to hear Hovind making some other noises? There's an audio clip that found its way to me. If you know, you know. It exists. I'm not selling my sources, but I got it. I do not recommend it. Oh, I want to burn my ears now.
Post claims fossils on Mount Everest are evidence of global flood. Scientists say they're actually proof of Earth's constant change in plate tectonics. Scientists. All they have to do is say the word scientists say. Everybody says, oh. Who decides who's a scientist? Who made that call, okay? And
the community at large. It's kind of a self-disciplining field. Quite beautiful, really. Who decided that you're supposed to be able to tell people about religion? Who decided that, huh?
Since when have all the scientists ever been right on everything? All through history, we've had to change things.
Since when have all the preachers ever been right on anything? And Kent, that's the entire point of science, is that you refine and more accurately understand things, and that everything is taken conditionally. And it's subject to certain criteria showing as valid. And as soon as someone realizes, hey, this isn't actually an accurate, way things are, the criteria for that model break down and a new model takes dominance. But it has to explain stuff better, more accurately than the old model did. Creation don't do that. It's many, many, many steps back.
And it's time we change this evolution thing. It's not part of science. We're not against science. We're against evolution, which is not part of science. It's a religion. So let's see what Dan has to say about Matt Powell's fossils found, sea life found on top of the mountains. Okay, Dan, take it away.
Noah's flood, something that apparently 40% of Americans believe happened. The problem is, of course, the lack of hard evidence to support it.
Man, you know when he's gonna stop somebody. That's the level we're at with watching Kent, is that the moment he's gonna stop someone and say something. We know every one of his triggers. It's kind of amazing how predictable he is. And I hate when people are predictable.
Of hard evidence to support a flood, Dan, the world is still 70% underwater. Lots of legends about a flood. Why would ancient people talk about a global flood? The Bible's very clear on the topic, and we see all kinds of evidence of Noah's flood. What do you mean the lack of evidence? You don't know what you're talking about, son. Come visit Dinosaur Adventureland. We'll show you. Okay.
SpongeBob stand in for evolution believers, or the concept of believing in evolution, what have you, because it's imagination. Kent somehow was exposed to that meme upon leaving prison, and he began rolling with it immediately. Probably because he saw somebody respond to creation with that, and so he just reversed it like he does everything. Because he's Harvard. That's what he does. That's all he can do. Like every other theatard out there. Oops, I said a naughty word. I never noticed the little space shuttle right there in Dan's wall of awesome. SRB's going. SSMEs don't produce really a vapor. Yeah. That's cool shit right there.
Powell, though, has apparently 10 reasons why Noah's flood is a fact. Here we go.
But they're just lying about the Egyptian history. It's all fabricated. They don't want to admit that the Jews left. Would you write down if 2 million Jews left when the world population is only supposed to be like 80,000? Calvin, totally makes sense.
Let's see.
Find it as useful as I do. Right, on with today's.
I wish I had the money for a Ground News subscription. I probably could get a lot of good content to write opinion pieces on through that. Maybe one day as things get slightly better. Getting slightly better every day, give or take little emergencies. Did I mention you guys are awesome and y'all help out a ton with all the chaos in my life? Because you do. Maybe this is the part where I'll say, hey, if you're able to, super chat's definitely welcome. Did you know that last month was my lowest earning month? I'm not complaining about it. I'm just slightly surprised. But no, y'all are really awesome. At a point, when am I just playing a parody of someone shilling for money? Even though I am reminding people that I appreciate donations, but like I'm doing it in such a joke. Like, is it serious? I don't even know anymore. Anyway, more Hovind. I was actually using those moments to try to cleanse my auditory palate of his voice. Let's keep going.
This video then, creationist YouTuber Matt Powell. He is not happy that people think Noah's flood is a myth. So today he's presenting 10 reasons that he thinks it's not. Let's have a look at his list, shall we?
A lot of people are under the impression that Noah's flood never happened.
Notice that Matt Powell in this video sounds like he's on helium. I don't know if that's like an edit from Dan or like a slight increase or what it is. But yeah, Powell sounds like he's huffing stuff. Also, he's outside. I would say this fucker goes outside, but he's got that permanent snow goggle tan going on, looking like a moron. You don't need to wear shades all the time, bruh.
And if you tell people that you believe in biblical creationism, sometimes they will laugh at you. But let me tell you, biblical creationism and Noah's flood are two verifiable things that you can show to be accurate.
Yep, so verifiable that they're a load of crap that only a fringe minority believe are a literal happening in the grand scheme of the world.
Well, you can't, Matt, because you've tried several times and
Dan, you can't show evolution to be true. You
can't. Can you let the man finish an entire sentence? You taught English for 15 years. You should understand that he has to go through an entire subject and predicate. Has to go through the whole thing. Opens with a capital letter, ends with a period. And those can be implied audibly. Maybe not so much a capital letter, but I mean, you understand it's there. If you imagine the sentence somebody's saying in their head, you do all the capitalization. Unless you don't capitalize it. That's neither here nor there. Let the man speak, Kent. Good God.
You've tried several times. Where's the evidence of any animal producing babies that would be considered a new kind? Your answer is, well, it happens too slow. Well, that's my point. We don't see it. It's not observable. It's not science. You imagine that, and it may be true, but so far, it hasn't been observed, so it's not part of science. I don't know how they don't get it, Joseph, but I like whacking them. I enjoy it, okay? Easy target for me.
Based on audio I've got, Kent, you like a lot of whacking, if you know what I mean. Oh, someone please jam a pencil through my ears. I don't ever want to hear that again.
Had a long day today. It was great. Dan, thank you.
You had a long day today. Try doing actual work, Kent.
Thank you for giving me another break tonight. Okay.
not done so. But please carry on.
In this video, I'm going to give you 10 reasons why Noah's flood is a fact.
Here we go, people.
Matt Powell also probably thinks mayonnaise is spicy.
Buckle up.
Number one is because you find sea life on every single mountain. There are entire whales that we find perfectly preserved on top of mountains. We also find gigantic oysters, some as big as cars on the Andes Mountains.
So, flood myths are relatively endemic to most civilizations as they settled near rivers, and annual flooding tends to happen naturally more often than not at waterways. Depends on geography, topography, all that jazz. Um, Flood stories naturally will come up, and the biblical flood story is just one such story of a localized flood that's been grown way out of proportion, because you have to remember the Bible, the Old Testament, what have you, is written in the context of that tiny little sphere of Bronze Age goat fuckers and their understanding of the world. It has no value everywhere else, but now that we know how big the world actually is, these idiots want to make it encompass the actual world, not the known world for them at the time, which makes those stories make a lot more sense when you think about it as an extremely localized everything. Um, that being said, it was brought up earlier that Japan doesn't really have flood myths. I'm aware of some water-related stories, but the thing about Japan is it's not that it has rivers. Every place has rivers, but Japan is volcanic islands. It's a mountain chain, and everyone tends to live more towards the coast. So the stories you get are less about river floodings and going to be more about earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanoes, those sorts of things. Um, that's why it's dependent very much on the geography, on the location of the culture coming up with the stories. Um, but you're not going to find as much in the flood myth stories in, Japan as you would in China, in Korea, where, they're going to have rivers that definitely flood, much like the Tigris, Euphrates, and all that jazz.
How did they get there? And not to mention, these oysters are often sealed shut, and they were not even able to open when they died, as oysters and clams normally do.
Well, the Earth's crust is constantly shifting over millions of years.
Yeah, Ken's face is getting redder by the second.
Ancient seabeds can be pushed up as tectonic plates collide, forming a...
That is correct.
So what you're saying, Dan, is this is what it's like when worlds collide? Are you ready to go? Because I'm ready to go. What you gonna do, baby? Also, did anyone get my System of a Down reference at the beginning of the stream? Because I felt that was a good one, and I think everyone missed it. Maybe not the right people were here yet.
Correct, Dan. That's one option. Another option is there was a flood.
Yes, and another option is that Xenu cast demons into volcanoes, and that's where all the things came from. Another option is I farted them out last week, and they teleported back through time. Another option is Bob Saget put them there to test your faith, and you failed miserably. There's all kinds of options out there, Kent, but you reject all the ones I just came up with. Yours is just as valid. Not at all.
Give one option, which cannot be proven, and throw out the other one, which is...
Except it can be proven, and you literally acknowledge that tectonic shift happens. Ergo, there is nothing precluding the remains of sea life being captured in strata at the bottom of the ocean, as would tend to happen, and that strata eventually becoming the surface, becoming mountaintops. Nothing precludes it, Kent. Of course, you're a dumbass who don't understand what that is.
I think much more logical, but we're not asking that to be taught. You guys only want your religion to be taught.
Of course, mountains, which is a very credible reason as to how you find marine life up there. And no perfectly preserved whale has ever been found on top of a mountain.
Dan, I'm going to show you some stuff about the perfectly preserved whales. Here is...
Is he going to talk about the whale penis that he loves to do things to? Yeah, give him the whale penis. Yeah. See, Ken Hovind really loves the stories of sea monsters from ancient sailors, because that's what they were seeing, were whales showing off the goods. Because apparently they like to give it a little sunshine every once in a while. Because whales are fucking weird, all right? So, yeah.
Is a whale vertebra right here from our museum. You can come by and see that if you'd like. And whales do not have a vestigial pelvis, by the way. Watch my video number 4, lies in the textbooks.
Tim, it ain't video, but there's an audio component. It's out there.
You guys, you're desperate for evidence for your religion. I understand. Okay.
What are you talking about?
Yes, another great addition by the ever lovely Maria. Flood myths also tend to be important where flooding is or was important to ecology and economy of cultures, such as the Nile Delta flooding, fertilizing the crops.
With the oysters though, things like clams and oysters can be found either open or shut, depending of course how quickly they were buried and fossilized.
Nimrod, good to see you. Those people don't believe in the right God. That's why they don't believe the world flooded. Good point. We'll file it over here in the trash can. That's because they're brachiopods that naturally close when they die.
All you've done here, Matt, is show how you don't know how fossilization or geology works.
Evidence number 2.
All you've done most of your career, Dad, is you don't understand what science is. Who gave you that name, Simon Dan? Because you're not a Simon. You're a pusher of your religion.
Oh no, what dumbass gave you the name Kent the Science Gent? Oh yeah, you gave it to yourself. And I'll tell you, for as general cursory as Dan's depth can sometimes go into things, and sometimes he can go pretty deep into stuff, but a lot of times he keeps it pretty on the surface level just to get the point across and to keep the videos, short and sweet in that 10-minute window. I still learned a lot from Dan. Little subtle things that stick with you because he has a very, very nice delivery style. And it's quick and simple, and the basic point gets across. And I greatly appreciate him for providing that element to the discourse regarding combating pseudoscience.
Religion, which I applaud you for. Everybody should try to spread their religion if they really believe in it. The Mormons do, the Muslims do, the Jehovah's Witnesses do, the Catholics do. And you really try to spread your religion. Yay. But it's not science. Okay. Matt, take it away.
Would be polystrata fossils. Think about it. We find.
Go back to evidence number 1, sea life on top of mountains. Okay, here we go, Dan. The theory holds the Earth's outer crust is formed by...
Hey, Wayne Bradshaw in Hoven's comments. You're a dumbass.
plates which slowly move over a molten upper layer in the planet's interior. Mountains are formed by the collision of two plates, which slowly create the rock formations over millions of years. Couldn't they create that real quickly too if there was a collision? And it's always got to be over millions of years in your playbook. I know. Okay. It is true the remains of ancient sea life have been found fossilized on Everest, the world's highest point above sea level. These include fragments of extinct and existing marine animals, trilobites.
You know what I want to know? What is the maximum height the Appalachians actually reached before their height increases generally subsided and they began to erode? I don't know. I'll try to remember and look that up. Or if someone can tell me what the highest estimated peak actually was historically,
All these animals on crinoids. I used to have a crinoid collection. I had a necklace about 15 feet long. I used to drill the hole out in the middle and
a 15-foot long necklace. Also, Kent, did your son steal it? Do you want it back? With like your underwear?
When I was a kid, string them on there, Indian beads, we called them. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. Nick, Kyle, why do I feel like just saying the name Kyle and I think I know who you got, but I don't know. Yeah, you'll have to fill me in more. Some point. And good point. Fossils are in the mountains, not on them.
Let's see, they're not fish. Samples collected from high on mountains also contain parts of the extinct prehistoric conodonts, thought to be distantly related to modern hagfish. Let's see. Mallory and Irvin perished in their attempt to climb to
Fully agree, Tim. Fully agree.
the summit of Mount Everest, but fossils collected by geologist Odell, the last person to see the teammates alive, included many limestone samples from the top of Mount Everest. The sedimentary rock typically forms in warm water from shell, coral, and other organic debris. Hillary also collected limestone samples from near the summit of Everest when he and the Norgay became the first people to scale the peak in 1953. That was a good year, by the way, the year I was born. How many marine fossils and sedimentary, how did they get up?
Tower of Babel events just because mountains got too high. Uh-oh, these mountains got too high. Time to break them all up. Ruin everybody's day for no damn reason. Where'd you put some of those Indian beads, Kent? Good question. I don't want to know the answers. Deviant popping up with some of that Egyptian knowledge here. Certainly correcting me for my statement a sec ago about Egyptian flood myths. I was just referring to the Nile Delta River flooding like it did. So I don't think I said anything about them having a flood myth per se, but it could definitely be understood and implied. Deviant says the Egyptians don't have a flood myth, i.e., a flood myth as we talk about them. Stories about catastrophic floods. The Egyptians, thanks to the Nile and their ability to utilize it, their advantage, didn't experience catastrophes due to floods. The areas of Mesopotamia, on the other hand, they did. Euphrates and Tigris, unpredictable floods, and buildings were made from mud. Not a good combo, which is why the biblical flood myth echoed the Sumerian flood myths. Thank you. Thank you very much. That is a great point to bring up, that, yeah, Tigris and Euphrates weren't controlled, and when you got mud houses, shit's ruined. One flood and your whole thing's gone. And the Egyptians, they understood the Nile very, very well. And they understood its water. Seth with, I used to have a 15-foot-long necklace to hang from his 15-foot whale penis sculpture he keeps in his bedroom. It's big and thick and veiny. 1855 Big Dildo. Extension 666. No. It's extension 69 for Hovind. Extension 420 to go to the champagne room. Yes. I don't know why we call it the champagne room when it's 420, but you can do whatever in there except sex. No sex in the champagne room. Yamato.
Get up there. Well, University of Wollongong, Dr. Buckman extensively studied the Himalayas. The memes claim Everest fossils have been left behind in an ancient flood was misleading. The fossils recorded around Mount Everest are Ordovician in age. Look at this. He knows they can't be from the flood because of the stupid geologic column he was taught. Look, Dan, there is no such thing as a geologic column. I keep asking you guys, where are these layers coming from?
Oh, here we go. We're 10 minutes in. Where are they coming from? Outer space?
Let's see. We have a map of here.
Look out. Lines on paper coming your way.
Here we go. Okay. You guys believe by faith that the layers are different ages and the top layer is younger. This layer is 2.5 billion years old. This one's only 10,000 years old. Where was all that dirt sitting for 2.4999 billion years?
Hey, Kent, it isn't dirt. Dumbass.
Waiting to land. This whole geologic column was just made up in 1830, less than 200 years ago. It doesn't exist anywhere. It's a joke, guys. It's a hoax. All the layers are the same age. Every speck of dirt in the universe is the same age. If it all began at a big bang, then every speck of dirt's 4.5 billion, or 14.772. They changed.
That stands for itself right there, doesn't it? Just. Here's the BS. Harvard. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about because I'm Ken Hovind.
Change the number all the time. Billion years old. If the Earth formed 4.6 billion years ago, every speck of dirt is 4.6 billion years old. There is no geologic column. Petrified trees standing up, connecting all of them.
That iridium wasn't just hanging around for people to dig it up. It came from space. Dun, 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 dun.
Tirade, we'll talk about it in a minute, are pretty clear evidence of that. But just think about it logically. How can the top layer be younger? Where did it come from?
Oh no, Hovind. How can your kids be different ages? I'll wait.
Moving it from here to here does not change the age of it, Dan.
Can you imagine seeing this, sitting in the church and watching him do this? It's deranged. I think that's something people don't realize. And what's funny is it's people who follow him don't realize is that he's got a captive audience there. This isn't just a little side thing in an office. This is a corner dedicated in the fucking church. It's weird.
And if you shuffle a deck of cards, the top card does not become the younger one. If I flip these sand art toys over and they make a bunch of layers, which they will, are the layers different ages? No, they're all the same age. I don't know how they don't get it, but I'm kind of glad they don't because I love wow.
Yeah, the layers of crap in his underwear from shitting himself constantly because he realizes he's fucking irrelevant. I'm Ken Holvin and I'm a washed up fucking idiot. Holvin! I would change my underwear, but I don't have a wife anymore to wash them because that's women's work, so I'm just gonna lay here in my crappy soiled briefs. Holvin.
Whacking him. I love it.
Yeah, I'm sure you do based on that audio.
So other people can see how dumb the theory is. And a lot of people are waking up to it. I like that. So the reason he knows it can't be a flood is because it's Ordovician. Because he has to bow down to that stupid geologic column. Throw that thing away. There are clams and fossils on top of Mount Everest.
44 tons of debris falls to Earth every day. Some of it former Soviet Venus probes. Yeah, how's that for being slightly topical? Yeah. You think I'd be all over that, but I'm just like, more space junk finally coming back. Whatever. But I mean, I guess it's because it's so overhyped. I'm just like, whatever. Tim here with a comment of, I'm a mountain geek. It's quite possible the Appalachians reached Himalayan height too. Excuse me. It's quite possible the Appalachians reached Himalayan height. Too much to write here, but there is a limit to how mountains can reach on Earth. Easy enough to research. Good point. I am aware of that fact because at a point you just reach structural limitations for the materials they're made of. Even granite can only be under so much stress before it just gives out. That's some cool shit right there. And yeah, feel free to chime in with mountainous facts whenever you feel they are worth bringing up. I'm not even saying just when they're relevant to some bullshit Kent says or something. Just fire away with stuff. That's the way this thing is. By the way, we're a couple of days from the 45th anniversary of the eruption of Mount St. Helens back in 1980. So that's cool. Interesting historic event. Don't care too much about volcanoes, but that's one I do care about. Let's continue.
That's the fact. It is not a fact they're 420 million years old. Let's see. Closed clams on Mount Everest often cited as evidence for a catastrophic flood, such as the biblical flood of Noah. These clams are believed to have been buried alive and rapidly fossilized. I would agree. We have hundreds of petrified clams here in our museum. They are petrified in the closed position, almost always indicating they're buried alive. It takes about a year for them to fossilize, not millions of years.
Buried alive, buried alive.
They've done it in the laboratory in 24 hours under pressure. Turn them to stone. Okay, we can have.
Doon 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 doon. Sorry, y'all don't think I listened to any music today. That's rare for me. I guess I'm a little needy for some rhythm in my ear canal after the stream.
Did your wife show you that machine we're going to get that actually does that? We can make fossils here in 24 hours. Pretty cool. Okay. Mount Everest, the highest mountain in the world, has been found to contain fossilized closed clams, suggesting those clams were buried quickly before they could decompose and their shells open. This rapid burial is seen as evidence of a catastrophic event rather than gradual processes. In the Andes Mountains, giant fossilized oysters were discovered at high altitudes, leading some to suggest these mountains were once covered by water. I agree. I don't think that water was over Mount Everest. Mount Everest was under the water. Big difference. The mountains arose at the end of the flood. The scientific community, whoever that is, who decides who's in that community? Huh? I want to be in it. I want to lead it, okay?
Yeah, well, you suck, so no.
Generally explains these fossils through the theory of plate tectonics. Uplift of mountains occurred over millions of years. You got to say it sanctimoniously. Over millions of years. Whoa. The presence of marine fossils in mountain regions, including clams, is used by both creationists and scientists. Wait, look what they did there. Both creationists and evolutionists. See, creationists are scientists also, okay? Actually, better scientists. They support their theories, okay. Mount Everest is known for
Wrong.
Containing fossilized closed clams. I agree. The Andes Mountains has giant fossilized oysters and other marine fossils. I agree, okay. Whale skeletons on mountains. Yes, whale skeletons have been found on mountains, Dan. You need to get up to date on your research, okay? In the Andes Mountains, scientists discovered fossils of whales and other marine animals at altitudes of 4,000 and 5,000 feet, indicating that South American mountain chain rose rapidly from the sea over the last 15 million years. It could rise rapidly over 50 days. It doesn't have to be millions of years.
No, Kent, because rocks wouldn't handle that kind of stress. Idiot.
California's Santa Cruz Mountains, construction workers uncovered a 4 million year old whale fossil. Wow, in the Santa Cruz Mountains. Wow. Whale fossils high in Andes show how mountains rose. Yeah, I agree. New York Times. Whales on mountaintops. 1927, Odell, the guy mentioned earlier climbing Mount Everest, documented finding fossilized seashells near the very top of Mount Everest. Later on, Sir Edmund Hillary on his famous climb verified not only they were fossilized seashells, but that the top was 3,000 feet. The top 3,000 feet of the mountain was covered in fossilized clams in seams up to 10 feet thick. 10-foot thick layers of fossilized clams. Philippine authorities seized fossilized giant clam shells worth $25 million. Whale skeletons found in the desert. 2 significant whale graveyards were discovered.
Actually, Deviant, if you're seriously wondering, not much. I jumped ahead a little bit at lunch. Skipped around. There's a reason I didn't eat lunch.
Discovered in deserts, each with a number of whale skeletons found. Chile's Atacama Desert discovered 40 fossil whale skeletons, including almost complete skeletons of large whales, dolphins, seals, extinct species, sloths, walrus-faced dolphins. Egypt's Wadi, Egyptian desert, known as the Valley of Whales, over 400 fossil skeletons of archaic whales have been found.
Yeah, archaic whales, not modern whales.
The site's particularly significant for its well-preserved fossils, including complete skeletons, Dan. Whoa. Besides, both sites provide insight into the evolutionary history of whales. No, they don't. They provide evidence of a flood. Anyway, ancient whale fossils found in the desert in Egypt. Wow. Look at that.
Hey, that's a crate dragon. I know them bones.
Whales found in the desert. They had to swim really fast to get out there, Dan, before they dried out. Yeah. Wadi, whatever that is in Egyptian, the Valley of Whales. How did 75 whales end up?
Everyone tell Deviant you love her because she just had a stroke hearing Kent say that.
In the desert? Rows of prehistoric bones unearthed in one of the most significant discoveries of its kind, from Daily Mail reporter back in 2011. 7 whales discovered so far. 20 are perfectly intact skeletons. Fossils of baleen whales measure about 8 meters, 25 feet long. Okay, let's see. It shows Minister of National Assets using crutches looking at one of the prehistoric whales found in the desert that was in the Atacama Desert in Chile. Let's see. Researchers believe there could be hundreds more skeletons on the hill. They asked to move it so the road work can continue. So there we go in South America.
Oh, yeah, there's a bunch of skeletons on the hills at Dinosaur Adventureland. Howard.
America and Chile, they find fossil whales. Scientists play detective after 20 perfectly intact skeletons of ancient sea mammals are found thousands of feet away from the Pacific Ocean. A tale of 2 skeletons re-articulating whale bones. There they are, right here. Got one right here. Guy from Alaska sent that to us, I recall. See, Dan? Dan is a Pied Piper leading his simple followers away from the truth. The truth is, there was a flood. The Bible warned us about Dan right here in 2 Peter chapter 3. You should write his name in your Bible right there. Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days, Dan, walking after his own lust.
Yes, magic book full of bullshit says that people won't believe magic book full of bullshit. Welcome to the world, dumbass.
Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days, put Dan in there, okay? They're going to say, where's the promise of his coming? Since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were. That's this idea of uniformitarianism. The way it's happening now is the way it's always been happening for millions of years. That's Dan. For this, they willingly are ignorant of. That is certainly Dan. They're ignorant of three things. Number one, that by the word of God, the heavens were of old. They don't understand how the world used to be, surrounded by a crystalline canopy, which then collapsed at the time of the flood. We cover all that on video number 2. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Even though I'm just going to tell you all about it at some point or another in my things, because you don't need my videos. You can watch this shit for free, and I'll eventually go through all my stuff. I've been running the same script for 3 fucking decades. All right.
And the earth was standing out of the water and in the water.
Oh, good. They shut him up. Isn't this nice? Roger, I didn't know the dude's name, but Mud Fossil University, yeah, I know the guy. I know the guy. If y'all want, I could take a look at him, but you know, I don't know what more I could necessarily add. I just hate that he takes that feather and taps on his screen. I would say he gets props for running Ubuntu, but that's kind of becoming a bastard distro at this stage. So yeah, I mean, it hadn't really been worth a damn for a while now.
Find trees that are upside down in some cases that are penetrating
Oh, they fixed the audio.
multiple layers.
And you're right, Dan, Matt. Upside down trees, petrified trees running through all the layers. But Dan says trees can stand there for a long time while the layers form around them. Oh, for millions of years, Dan? How many trees did we lose
Hey, Brock, how's it going, bro?
this last year, Joseph, to the town bark beetles? Over 100. I bet they're probably going to stand about a year, year and a half, maybe 2 years if you're lucky, and they're going to fall over. Come visit.
Layers of the geologic column. Now, if these layers slowly accumulated over millions of years, why is it that you have a tree that connects many of these layers? That means that the layers are an identical age, because
Hey, some of them aren't trees, they're lycopods, buddy. And it's not going through geologic layers. It's all the same geologic layer. You just individual sub-layers thereof is one way to think about it.
trees aren't just going to stand there for millions of years waiting to be fossilized as sediment layers are slowly forming around them. It tells us that these trees were placed there by a cataclysmic process and not by slow and gradual change in the Earth's crust.
So yes, these polystrate fossils are a thing, and are...
They are a thing. Joseph, is it me, or is that some kind of new thing that people say these days? They are a thing.
Yes, Kent. Language evolves, and while I'm not the biggest fan of a lot of slang, which supposedly is short for shortened language, more you know, that one works.
I will say, yeah, me and George, we are a thing. Oh, wow. Okay, take it away, Dan.
Typically upright fossilized trees, as Matt says, that extend vertically through multiple layers of sedimentary rock. They're most commonly found in coal beds, floodplains, and volcanic deposits.
It's not doing.
I wonder why. And you're going to say, no, they're not, Kent? Yeah, they pretty much are, and there's a reason for that.
The only place they're found, Dan, they're found all over. They found a bunch of them in Tennessee.
Yeah, in floodplains and swampland.
There's a bunch in Joggins, Nova Scotia.
Yeah, in floodplains and swampland.
They're not found in only those places. They're found all over the world.
Yeah, in places with those conditions. You ain't exactly finding them in the Sahara Desert, are you, buddy?
Thousands of petrified trees standing up, running
And ironically, you could, per se, given its history, but, I'm just saying, you ain't just walking around and being like, oh, look, there it is.
through all these layers that you guys claim are millions of years different in age. I'm sorry, that's stupid. Give it up. There is no geologic column. Give it up. Get a new religion.
The thing is, sedimentary layers don't always take millions of years to form.
Bingo. Dan, you're getting it. You're getting it.
Hey, yeah, Kent. Talking about subtle individual sedimentary layers, not necessarily full geologic strata. But that doesn't accommodate for the stratigraphic layers constituents, which do require a long time to make. You got no answer from that one other than the flood.
It. Sedimentary layers don't always take millions of years to form. They could form rapidly in a flood, couldn't they? just the moon pulling the tide up and down as the world spins under it.
Uh-oh, tidal pumping. Kent's been doing some other tidal pumping.
Called tidal pumping, is going to
Called it. Yeah, you've been doing a lot of pumping, ain't you there, Holland?
force water in and out at the same speed the Earth is spinning at that latitude. Here in Lennox, we're 31 degrees above the equator. We're turning 886 miles an hour. The water's rushing in and out of that tidal bump 886 miles an hour for about an hour to fill the bump and then an hour to empty it. So it's going to make thousands of layers. Dan, you need to get it.
ICR, yeah, I might, Laura. Yeah, y'all keep the suggestions coming, and I'm going to hit that Candace Owens stuff, Laura, probably this weekend. So let me know when's a good time for you, so you can be there.
The Sandar toy. Put it on your desk and just study it for a while. Wow, the layers form quickly, don't they? Yeah. Doesn't take millions of years. You're right.
Noted, Nimrod. I'll let Sir Sick have it.
Yeah,
He deserves it.
Going. You're going to get there. Do it. You keep climbing the mountain of truth, and we'll wait for you at the top.
And think about this, trees can remain upright for years or decades.
Trees can stand upright. Dan, think about it. Dan is saying that a dead tree can stand upright for decades. Show me.
Yeah. The neighborhood I grew up in still has a bunch. They've been dead for a good long while, buddy. Takes a while for trees, if they're not forced down, to actually just kind of rot away like that. Hell, if left to their own devices, the soft materials will, do their thing. But the stuff that we would then call wood, it'll just pretty much sit there. It's kind of how wood works. You're taking advantage of it right this second. Funny. The guy who knows everything seems to not know something. Builds houses and does all kinds of shit. Suddenly doesn't understand basic principles of construction and why wood is a great material to build things from.
Show me one of those, Dan. Show me one of those.
While sediment builds up around them. In fact, what you've shown here completely debunks the idea of a global flood.
It does not do any such thing. Dan, stop. You need some duct tape. You're making yourself look stupid, okay? It does not completely.
Yes, duct tape. That's really, really quite the apt thing for you to say, Kent.
Debunk the idea of a flood. It supports it. Petrified trees standing up indicate rapid burial. Each of the layers.
Yeah, that's something everyone forgets. The Himalayas are babies. They're baby mountains. But Chris, they're so massive. Yeah, because they're new. They haven't been eroded down. That's the thing. They're fresh.
Is a different tide. Tide going up, down, comes in, out, in, out, in, out. That's going to cause new layers every tide, every 6 hours, 12 and a half minutes. Oh, well, let's keep going. I need a bigger hammer, Joseph. Much bigger. Oh, hang on.
Why didn't Joseph just take over? He's the one doing all the goddamn work. Every stream, Joseph, 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 Joseph.
There we go.
A global flood would not create neatly layered strata or up.
Wait. A global flood would not create neatly laid down strata?
No, Kent. It would actually be a giant mud pile of all kinds of shit. It would in no way, shape, or form be what you describe.
Dan, do you ever think about before you talk?
Do you?
Yes, a global flood would do that. Some parts of the world might have been perfectly calm, just water going up and down. It didn't have to be catastrophic everywhere. Noah might have been in one place where it never saw any waves at all. I don't know. Or I bet there's storms going on in the world right now someplace. I don't see them here. Don't feel nothing. See, it's a big world, Dan. I don't know if you know this or not, but it's a really big world, okay? 8,000 some miles in diameter, 25,000 some miles around. We use miles over here, not the metric system. That's why we won the war. But the Earth turning under.
What an arrogant prick.
That moon holding the bump is going to make the tide go up and down, pulling the water in and out. And so the speed that comes in and out depends upon your latitude. 0 at the North Pole, 1,038.6 at the equator. Lennox, Alabama, 886 miles an hour. So we can calculate. If you give me your latitude, I'll tell you. velocity. Okay, anyway, let's go on here.
All right, Saturday it is. That's perfect.
Upright trees standing in place. It would create chaotic mixed layers.
How do you know such a thing? You can go any place where there's been a flood and find some layers are nice, neatly stacked like cards in a deck. Other places they might be chaotic. It totally depends upon conditions. If the tide...
Yeah, and a complete global flood would be pretty wild conditions, wouldn't it, Kent? But, you know better than everybody else. That's why Dan has a successful YouTube channel and you're streaming to Rumble.
Pulling the water up and down, and they're underneath at the bottom. There are little ridges and mountains. The water behaves funny underwater too, you know. Moving water underwater, in the water.
Yeah. That's the thing. That is what he does. Just say the same shit recycled. Don't recognize the name, so hey, welcome. And if I have seen you before, sorry, I have a crappy memory. We do this just because sometimes the shit he says is actually, amusing from a lolcow standpoint. Sometimes he goes unhinged. And sometimes it's just good to act as a refresher. And the fact that I'm a constant thorn in his side, it's just fun to be that guy. Since Robert Beatty doesn't do much on his site anymore or anything. So, yeah. But yeah, Hovind just recycles the same crap. The fact that Kent thinks it would rain so much to cover the whole damn planet wouldn't be fucking catastrophic everywhere. The mind boggles. Exactly. Some did not see any waves at all. Who were the some if everyone drowned? Good point. Very good point. What'd they do? Write down their last thoughts and then toss them up to Noah?
It behaves differently going over obstacles. There's whole branches of science dealing just with that, turbidity currents. Okay.
Yeah, and there's whole branches of economic science dealing with taxation and how to deal with people who don't pay their taxes. Well, that's more of a judiciary thing, but it's related to reasons why taxes are bueno. Debatably, depends on what they're going for. But the rest of us in America pay them and then bitch about it. You bitch about it and don't pay them. Because you're an asshole. But you sure take advantage of all the things that tax money brings in, or benefits that tax money brings.
Not organized geological columns.
You just make this statement like, Joseph, I wanted to get a Pope's hat to drop down on his head. Can you get me a meme like that? Simon and Dan have the Pope's hat.
Hovind used the word meme. The world is coming to an end.
He's speaking ex cathedra, folks. He said it can't happen. And all of his followers said, Skalashana Toyota Kawasaki Mitsubishi, yes, Dan, yes, Dan.
Wow. What an offensive prick. We're going to go back to that because he just randomly made fun of the Japanese there.
You just make this statement like, Joseph, I wanted to get
hell. Let me jump ahead just a hair.
Hat. Cathedra, folks.
Here we go.
He said it can't happen. And all of his followers said,
God damn it, I can't time this for crap today. Hang on, we're gonna get to where he actually says it. Goes through his crap. Dramatic pause. Okay, I'm just gonna keep on going. The joke has lost its ability.
Oh, Gashmu saith it.
My third
Kawasaki Mitsubishi, yes, Dan, yes, Dan. Yeah. And Dan have the Pope's hat. He's speaking ex cathedra, folks.
Okay, now I can do it. Thanks for bearing with me for this much fucked up joke, but I want to stress if you didn't make out what he was saying, what he was doing.
He said it can't happen. And all of his followers said, Skalashana Toyota Kawasaki Mitsubishi, yes.
That was worth it. Yeah, Atsuba Kata Kawasaki Mitsubishi Honda, something like that. Like, dude, what the fuck, Kent? What the fuck? Culturally insensitive asshole. I say that like I'm surprised. He's a straight up bigot, but goddamn. What a fucking piece of work right there.
And yes, yeah. Huh? Oh, Gashmu saith it.
My third piece of evidence would be coal seams. Some of them are actually over 100 feet thick. Now, coal is made up of vegetation and swamp material and plants and trees that get smashed together between sediments. That's how coal is formed. And so in order to get a seam that's over 100 feet thick, you would have to have a globally cataclysmic event to be
Matt, seriously, quit huffing the helium.
able to create such coal seams.
Thick seams don't mean lots of plants all at once.
There, Dan, you're making a statement. Here we need to put the Pope's hat on you. Coal seam. Let me get back to my slides here. Okay, PowerPoint. Right here. He said trees can remain upright for years or decades while sediment builds up around them. In fact, what you've done here completely debunks the global flood. A global flood would not create neatly layered strata. Who on earth told you that? Do you have the authority to just simply make that proclamation and now it's true? Your followers are going to follow you, Dan. They're going to believe you. Oh, Dan said it's got to be true. Now, evidence about the coal. There are coal seams that are absolutely enormous. This one's in Wyoming, I believe. Atheists ask me, doesn't it take millions of years for coal to form? Well, no. Argonne National Laboratory, they can heat wood, clay, and water for 36 weeks. Actually, there's an article in Chemical.
And is that the same as, anthracite? Didn't think so.
Technology where they can form coal in a few hours. Take plant material under heat and pressure and make coal. The floating log mat. During the flood, there'd be areas the size of Texas, logs and trees and areas, vegetation that was ripped out, floating around, dropping down a debris trail, which is going.
Yes, but those massive floating log mats that nothing would live on and survive the flood. Nope.
Going to then turn to coal. Then you get another layer of mud on top of that. Then the wind changes and moves the log mat back the other way, and you get another layer of coal. We end up with coal, layers of coal, multiple layers. Coal is nearly always found in layers. That's why we have what's called strip mines. I grew up in Illinois, where there's a bunch of them up there. I was in a debate with Dr. Scott, Jeannie Scott. She said, Dr. Hovind, there are 80 separate layers of coal in the Midwest. She's right. I grew up there. Okay, we take field trips into the coal mines. Okay.
Field trips into the coal mines. Even well before Minecraft. Well before that fucker Notch was born. Even Kent Hovind's generation yearned for the mines.
If you take a look at the amount.
I wish if there were still child labor like that in the mines, it would have been nice for you to have not made it to 15 having worked in them. Enjoying that black lung there, and yes, I know black lung is something else, but it's funny to say in reference to coal because people get the image you're presenting.
Amount of coal in the world today, the entire biomass, all the plants of the world today could not possibly be converted to that much fossil fuel. She's right. There's so much coal in the ground. If we took every tree and bush and blade of grass and squished it, we couldn't make all.
One of his cases of talking about the Missoula floods is relatively early in his systematic classification of life series, in a section where he also talks about the scablands and other such geologic phenomena. I believe, or actually it may be, or he may additionally talk about it in lies in the textbooks.
All the coal down there. She is right. So she said there had to be an enormous amount of time laid down to lay down the coal seams. Oh, and right there, she's wrong. She's looking at today's world, which is 71% underwater. Okay, no trees growing there. 30% of the part that's above water is forested. So 30% of 70%, there's about 8% of the world is covered in trees. 8%, okay? What if the original creation was 90% land and 90% of that was forested?
Well, that wouldn't last that long, given the way sunlight hitting the earth would do. Pretty sure that's not ecologically stable under any condition. Star Wars isn't a depiction of actual planetary nature. It's actually, that's one of the fantasy aspects of it, is that you have a whole ice world and a whole desert world and everything, but still habitable. But it's just all the same way.
Now you'd have a whole lot more trees to be buried in the flood and bigger trees. Oh, got flood misspelled. Okay. Joseph, my computer, the L key is not working sometimes. Okay, got to work on that. So
that's because that's always the last key when he types in animal.
this formed the huge coal seams we find today. See, what you're doing by finding these huge coal seams is not proving it took millions of years. You're proving the world was different before the flood came. Coal seam in Montana, let's see, 25 to 190.
Coal seam in Montana. Okay, Kent, you're the one who said it. I know you were talking about semen here, but there you go.
Feet thick. The Powder River Basin. That's a lot of coal. Big George averages 113 feet thick, often reaches 200 feet thick. Lake Desemet, thickest coal seam in the U.S. at 250 feet in the Wasatch Formation. They got the Eocene age. Erase that. That's stupid. There's no such thing as the Eocene age. Okay. Sometimes in the ceiling of coal mines, as they're digging out the coal, they get to the rock above, they find footprints, dinosaur footprints. How did dinosaur tracks get in the ceiling to the coal mines? Well,
I'm sure whatever you're actually talking about is well explained by people who specialize in this stuff. I don't know offhand, and that's absolutely fine, because I don't claim to be an expert in everything. I don't honestly care that much. And also, given how deceptive creationists are, believe you're lying about something somewhere in the mix. So, meh.
they were walking on the vegetation that was all being packed down at the flood, trying to, it might have taken 6 months to kill everybody in the flood. Animals are running around trying to find high ground, walking on these compressed vegetation, leaving their footprints behind. And then another layer of mud comes on top, hardens and preserves the footprints right there. Much simpler than taking millions of years, I think, Dan. Coal mine up in Alabama here, Birmingham, they have petrified trees standing up, running through 2 seams of coal. Interesting. Branching coal seams. Look at that. All the coal seams formed in rapid condition.
I need to learn Swedish pronunciation so I can just say stuff that Deviant and Soot will type in Swedish just for the fun of it. I know that one thing that was sort of pseudo-English a while back that you posted, Deviant, I got the correct accentation on, but that was partly due to it being pseudo-English. I was able to sort of, interpret what the sound should be, knowing at least what I do about the sound of Swedish. So yeah, it was kind of a case of educated guess. But yeah.
Coal seams 200 feet thick. Wyoming, 10,000 square miles coal reserve. Strip mines in Gillette, Wyoming, digging out coal. There we go. Huge seams of coal. That's a big truck, brother. You know how the rednecks around here are proud of their big trucks and big tires? We get one of them drive around. Imagine you pull into Walmart with one of them. All the rednecks should be out there salivating, wouldn't they? That's a big one, yeah. Mr. Newton Anderson found a bell inside a lump of coal, 1944.
I call bullshit.
He still has the bell. I talked with him back 25 years ago. I don't know if
Yeah, I'm certain he's dead now.
he's even still alive. It's an old phone number. Let's see. There's what's on top of the bell. Interesting. A 4.5-inch zinc and silver vessel found in 600 million year old rock. See, they are stuck on stupid. They can't get rid of their geologic column. Okay. Let's see. A relic of bygone age. A few days ago, a powerful blast was made in the rock of Meeting House Hill in Dorchester. Reverend Mr. Hall's meeting house. The blast threw out an immense mass of rock, some of the pieces weighing several tons, and scattered fragments in all directions. Among them was picked up.
Oh, that's not cookie dust under there. That's another substance.
A metallic vessel in 2 parts, rent asunder by the explosion. On putting the 2 parts together, it formed a bell-shaped vessel. There it is. On the other side were 6 figures of a flower or bouquet. Unknown. Matter is worthy of investigation. That was in 1852, before the evolution of religion became popular and polluted our science books. 1891, Morrisonville Times, a curious find was brought to light. Mrs. Cope brought, as she was breaking a lump of coal, embedded in a circular shape.
Thanks, Laura. I don't remember that. Aaron explained the bell in the coal is most likely coal slurry that hardened around the bell during the mining process. Makes sense.
A small gold chain, 10 inches long. Carved stone from Lehigh coal mine in Webster, Iowa, 1897. An iron pot found inside a lump of coal. We have a replica of it here someplace. Here we go. This is a replica of that iron pot found inside a lump of coal at the Municipal Thomas Electric Plant. The guy signed an affidavit, sworn before a notary, Frank Kennard, while I was working at the Municipal Electric Plant in Thomas, Oklahoma, 1912.
Yeah, really trust what a fraud in 1912 wrote.
I came upon a solid chunk of coal, which was too large to use, so I broke it with a sledgehammer. This iron pot fell from the center, leaving the impression or mold of the pot in a piece of the coal. Jim Stoll, an employee at the company, witnessed the breaking of the coal and saw the pot fall out. I traced the source of the coal and found it came from the Wilburton, Oklahoma mines. Signed before me, Sulphur Springs, Arkansas, the 270th day of November, 27th day, it's kind of faded here, of November. Guys, coal formed because of the flood, Dan. Probably nearly all the coal in the world formed because of that flood. Oop art means out-of-place artifacts found in coal. Is there an explanation for these anonymous bells, chains, walls? They find walls in coal mines? Oh, yeah. Human artifact in coal, described as out-of-place artifact, oop art. Objects that appear to be from a much more recent time.
Ken Hovind is an out-of-place artifact, am I right?
1891, Illinois newspaper told about finding the lump of coal in South Illinois and had an iron pot in there. We just covered that. A shiny metal bar with teeth resembling a gear was discovered in coal in the mines in Russia. X-ray analysis showed it to be 4% magnesium, mostly aluminum, 2 to 4% of magnesium, unusual alloy. Let's see. Oop art. The following examples of oop art reveal man-made walls reportedly deep within coal mines, where evidence of human manufacture simply should not be present. See, there were humans around.
Really? Really? Yeah, I call bullshit.
When the coal formed, Dan. The coal formed probably because of the flood and buried human civilizations from before the flood. Possible human artifact found in coal. Looks like it's got a gear, the teeth of a gear. Interesting. You can read the article for yourself. I quite agree with the generally received geological view that coal was formed long before man was introduced. Well, then how do you get human artifacts in coal? See, your whole premise is wrong. The Bible is right.
It's not.
The Bible said the scoffers are ignorant of that flood. Boy, they are ignorant. Okay, that's enough for tonight. We could whack Dan the rest of my life. Okay, he's never going to get it. So this
Yeah, I'm sure you could.
is good job security for me. He will never get it. Doesn't matter what size hammer I use, okay? But some of his followers might get it. Okay, call in with questions. And Dan, tell your followers, instead of writing nasty comments about me, call to debate me. 855 Big Dino, extension 4. Book them, Dano. Get a debate, okay? But no, they'll sit behind their keyboard
Boomer gonna boomer.
where they feel safe. Yeah, I understand. We have a name for that where I come from. Coward. Yeah. Okay. Hi, Ken. Can you send me the name of the video where you explain God created the angels? Okay, video number 7 of my series is where I talk about a lot of questions and answers. It's 5 hours long, 2 DVDs covering all that. I talk about the angels. Angels were created. We know that from Ezekiel 28 or Isaiah 14. Angels were created. And we know everything was created in 6 days from the 10 Commandments and other places in the Bible. And so we know that at the end of day 7,
Let's watch that again.
angels were created. And we know everything was created in 6 days from the 10 Commandments and other places in the Bible. And so we know that
You see the thing shake, someone took a step and it knocked it. They have no foundation. That floor is built like a goddamn wrestling ring. It accentuates everything. Just like me hitting my desk makes the bells ring on my phone.
At the end of day 7, everything was perfect. So angels had not fallen yet. So I cover that video number 7. Okay. Let's see. Hey, brother, haven't been a fan of your ministry since I was a kid.
He corrected that. He has.
Okay. I went to one of your Dino functions and you signed my Bible. I still have that Bible. God bless you and thank you for your.
Whoa, we have verification that Kent Hovind will sign a Bible. Wow. And I thought only Donald Trump and his cult compound were that sacrilegious. But what do I know?
What you do, Matthew. Well, thank you, Matthew. Keep serving the Lord. Do something for God with your life. Can't love your teachings. There are reasonable, significant difference between Catholic version and the King James. Incredible differences. Go to avpublications.com, authorized version. Gail Riplinger has written extensively on that topic.
Authorized by who, Kent?
They're in West Virginia. Let's see. Many good books on that topic of why you better use the King James. 51 reasons, the errors in the King James Bible. We have all kinds of them on our website, drdino.com.
I thought that as soon as I said it, Maria. You're not a boomer. You're not this. You're the cool side of it. I'll say it this way because I hate the whole generation classification thing anyway for ages, what have you. But you're the cool half.
I highly recommend.
So you ain't that kind of boomer.
Man, throw the rest away or use them for firewood, but get a King James Bible. That's where God preserved his word. Well, you and Simon Dan agree the earth is round. Yep, that's one thing he's right on. Technically not exactly round. It bulges at the equator a little bit, like some people I meet at Walmart, but the earth is maybe 20 miles out of round, but hardly noticeable. If you shrank it down to the size of a cue ball, it would be smoother and rounder than a cue ball.
I mean, Billy, if I wanted to get into some bullshit and get into the weeds, I probably could come up with something. But yeah, I guess I just can't be arsed to do it. By the way, I wanted to mention this at the top of the broadcast, but now is a perfect, an even better time to mention it, that Billy uploaded a new video. I hadn't watched it yet. Could actually be a re-upload of an older one, but it's a fresh upload to the channel one way or the other. Go check it out when you're done with this. Seriously. Check out Billy's channel. You have to. I command it, or Hovind will get you in your sleep.
You couldn't find Mount Everest if you shrank it down to the size of a cue ball. Couldn't find it. Okay. I'd like to hear Simon Dan's best reason why fossilized clams are found in the mountains of Utah. They're found all over.
He literally explains it in the video that Kent was reacting to. And we're just gonna tell you what the scientists say because they're the fucking experts, buddy.
Over the world. I mean, trillions of them. Does a chimp rap better than Dan? Just curious, what do you think? You mean like rap music? I've never compared them. I don't have no opinion on that one. I hope you and your family are good. What's your best explanation of speciation? Well, God created the original kinds with a genetic variability so they could produce a variety of kids. 2 humans today can marry and produce 10 kids.
So King James back in 1611 decreed that a business starting in the 20th/21st century would be authorized to do this stuff. Sounds legit. Okay, so that explains so this was about the same time as his thing with Aaron Ra, where he had to like redo the whole SpongeBob thing, like black it out and then remove the little picture hanging from the monitor. Was this around that same time? Because that would make a lot of sense. It kind of disappoints me that it wasn't an actual detection by like automatic systems or something, and Viacom actually getting on his ass. Because I wish they would. First political memory was Nixon, too young to remember JFK and Woodstock. Yep. This message is Hovland approved. Well, penis.
And they're all different. Kids come out different. You get them the same way, you feed them the same food, you raise them in the same house, and they turn out different. But they're still human. There's varieties of cows. I went up today and saw some of those cows with the giant horns. Did you see the picture I had of those? The guy's up in 40 miles from here. Anyway, he
Do it, Brock. Do it. Do it.
raises, he's got 1,000 acres. He raises deer up there. A long story. But so I think the variations are already built into the gene code.
Thank you, Deviant, for providing that promotion of Billy's video, because yes, it must be checked out by everyone. For he does great content. And the fact that he has a nice archive of Hovind content insofar as the stuff he's done videos on previously, a lot of the re-uploads, it gives you nice perspective for a lot of media that's gone because of Hovind constantly getting channels deleted.
God likes variety. You know, when Toyota makes a car, or Chevy, or anybody, they can have different features on it. You want power windows, power mirrors, different. It's the same car, just different features. What do they call it in your, like the Toyota Prius somebody gave me as level 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, they're coming off the same factory, coming down the same line. They just add different features. They're still Toyota, still Prius. And so God created lions to make baby lions. Some can stand the heat better, some can stand the cold better, some are bigger, some are smaller, but they're always lions. They're variations within the kind. That's all that ever happens. All that ever happens. Okay. It dawned on me why we're stuck on layers at different time periods. Tree rings mean different years. They look like all layers the same. Well, no, all tree rings are not different years. Sometimes they are, but not always. Okay, we covered that last night, I believe, or Sunday.
No.
Recently. Yeah. Okay.
Great show. It's almost 300,000 views.
Yeah, 300,000 views. Okay. Earth is not round. Oh, Nikon proves no curvature.
Oh, this is great. This right here is making it all worth it. Just seeing how he reacts to this. Yeah, Kent, remember, this is the intelligence of people you pull in.
You must be standing in Texas. Texas is pretty flat, but the rest of it's round, okay?
Oh, I thought Kansas was pretty flat. Which one? Dumbass.
Really, really.
Also, let's not ignore Flat Earthers' obsession over those damn cameras. It's like, dude, it's a crappy consumer grade camera from like 10 years ago. It's nothing special. What is their fucking obsession? Oh, it's like a bridge camera or something with a nice big zoom? Well, that's fucking great. Oh, you can make things appear over the horizon. No, you're just zooming in and getting a better fucking look, you dumbass. Keep focused on it. See what happens. Don't get me started on flat earthers and fucking cameras.
They're really big round balls. You'd have to be up high enough to see it. An ant probably thinks a beach ball is flat. Okay, let's see. Clean Sanchez. When the fountains of the deep broke, did it propel Earth rocks out of the atmosphere and hit the moon? I think it could have. I don't know. I cover in video number 2 about what the Earth was like and the canopy above and the water under the crust of the Earth. And a cubic foot of rock weighs a certain amount depending on the type of rock. And the pressure would be about 60 tons per square inch, or 30 tons per square inch, 60,000 pounds. That's enough once you get a crack to launch rocks out, maybe to escape
He said crack.
velocity. I don't know.
Have you done the math?
Yeah, Kent. Have you done the math on escape velocity? You understand what would happen if a rock was going at that velocity, right? Right? Or whatever you're trying to talk about in any particular case. Come on, dude.
Well, what are the odds that the moon and the earth would rotate so that we never see the back of it?
Well, the moon is called gravitationally locked to the Earth, okay?
It's tidally locked. Hence why the same side faces us. Which is partly due to the fact that it came from the Earth.
The moon is spinning once every 27 days, and it's going around the Earth every 27 days. So we always see the same side. And now, because of that, it's pulled enough mass this way, slightly egg-shaped, it can't get out of it. It's locked in position. It doesn't matter to me, okay? But I know the near side of the moon has different crater patterns.
Yeah, just like your magical fairy tale doesn't matter to me, Kent.
Than the far side. indicating probably some rocks got shot past it, sucked in by moon's gravity, which is less, weaker, and made little craters all over the backside. So that's just one theory. Don't know. Okay, is that it, brother? Man. Okay, Simon, Dan, I'm whacking you in Christian love. I really would like to see you wake up because you're influencing a lot of people to turn away from God's word. If you're wrong, that's one
Pascal's wager.
thing. But if you're influencing others to follow you, it ain't going to go good for you Judgment Day. And your knee shall bow. I promise you. I'll watch it happen. And I'll say, I tried to warn you, Dan. Okay, call me 855 Big Dino anytime. I'll talk to you. I'm extension 3. Okay. Okay, see you tomorrow. Bye.
Oh, I love the abrupt shutdown. Oh, we made it through that quicker than usual. Joe, of course he doesn't read the Bible. He believes that unbelief can apply to his marriage vows. Hoven's a shitty Christian. I know that goes without saying, but one really has to consider that he is a garbage example of what one can pull from the concept we call Christianity, whatever variation one applies to. You can pull so much good out of it, which you're pulling from yourself, but in turn you're using that as a way of balancing and giving you the catalyst of like, yes, I agree with this, we're doing this, or you can do all kinds of horrible stuff. It's people being people, but some people pull the right stuff out of the concept, the stories, and it helps. And I'm okay with that. Hovind is garbage, though. Absolute garbage. Gringfaldi, I did some creationist math last night. The moon is receding about 1.5 inches a year at an average of 250,000 miles away. Does it take over 10 billion years for the moon to collide with Earth? Thank you. Very, very good info. Gives you pause for thought, I'd say, if you're actually intellectually honest. Which, of course, Kent and his cronies aren't. Yeah. So, that is about that. I don't have anything special as an after show or anything. The yawns are coming. I'm going to try to get something that resembles dinner. And yeah, I'm gonna hit some Guild Wars. Actually, before I do that, I'm probably gonna see how much it would actually cost me to get a certain 855 number. And after that, we'll just we'll do whatever. Oh no, I'll do whatever. Anyway, y'all know where I am, hanging out in Discord, working on this, that, the other somewhere, or playing Guild Wars. Or yawning all the time because that's all I ever fucking do by like 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And oh man, my right ear just popped. So now all I've got is a high pitch in it. It just does that sometime. My left ear is the one I normally got tinnitus in, but this one, it just decided to go boop. There it goes. It went away. Weird. Anyway, yeah, much love as always.